Hello friends, this is Isaac over at Gaming with Sidekicks, and today we're going to be doing a Kickstarter preview for you from our friends over at Tasty Minstrel Games, and this game is going to be Emperor's Choice. There's some designers that really make you stand up and take notice, some that fuel your interest before you even have a chance to play that game. Today I get to show you one of those games from designer Hisashi Hayashi that is going to be coming to a larger audience thanks to our friends over at Tasty Minstrel Games. And like I said, that game is Emperor's Choice. In 221 BC, Emperor Qin Shi Huang finally united China after a long period of internal conflict in which China was divided by warring provinces. With this unprecedented authority, the emperor made a number of influential lasting reforms and carried out impactful, large-scale projects that would last for centuries. In Emperor's Choice, you and your fellow players are subordinates for the said emperor, and you're promoting his policies and projects, but also trying to raise your position in his court. You will try to gain favor with the emperor throughout numerous ways to move and change your position in the kingdom. Looking at the board and some of the different aspects, again, this is the original release, and we're going to be looking at the original release, knowing that we'll be getting a Kickstarter version of this in the near future. In this game, the ways you manipulate your position in the court include building sections of the Great Wall, amassing troops and carriages, recruiting philosophers and academics, and collecting important literature. The player who scores the most victory points at the end of 6 rounds is the winner. Each round has 3 phases that you'll play through trying to earn points. Victory points are earned and are presented for achievements that the emperor wants, but be warned, they are constantly in flux. Victory points going up along this scale here. The game is carried out over 6 rounds, and the score is totaled at the end to determine the winner. Each round is divided into 3 phases and a setup phase. Phase 1 is the auction phase, Phase 2 the management phase, Phase 3 the imperial decree phase, and Phase 4 the setup phase. After each of these phases are carried out in order, the round ends. You can see here we've set the board up for a 4-player game, and these are the starting player areas down here at the bottom. The first phase, which is called the auction phase, consists of laying out tiles and selecting your bid with a character. The person who bid the highest gets the first pick, and then down the line cards are assigned. Bidding is performed with your character cards or soldier cubes. If you happen to pass, you get to pick a withdrawal action earlier in the following round. So this allows you to decide what your bid position is going to be with your character. As we go into Phase 2, the second phase is the management phase, which moves into players collecting tiles and income. Immediate tiles have effect that happen here as well. Income can be used to move up the palace hierarchy or can be spent on characters and soldiers. In this phase, you perform actions one at a time from the player with the smallest turnover tile. When the player with the highest turnover tile finishes the action, the management phase will end. As we look along the board, we can see money that can be collected here in the form of 1s and 3 coins. These small black cubes are your soldier tokens. You can see those through there. So the player will perform these actions in this sequence. They can gain Qin Dynasty tiles, use immediate effect tiles, collect income, or use Imperial Treasure card effects. So a couple of those things. Qin Dynasty tiles can be seen here. There are different rows of these tiles, and there's a bag that you'll draw extra ones from. Each one of these have different aspects to them. Just to kind of show you a few of these. A closer look at some of these tiles. The tiles can be things like adding Confucianist tiles or books, Imperial messengers, royal seals, legalist tiles, each one of these providing opportunities and ways to score in the following phases. You can also have tiles that have immediate effects that you can use. As you use those tiles, those will take place on the board immediately. You can collect income. Income is determined based on your level, and you collect that income in coins over here. You can also use Imperial Treasure card effects. These Imperial Treasure cards are here. As you can see through here, each of these has a specific Imperial Treasure card name along with an effect. So for example, this one is the Jade Bangle. And the Jade Bangle allows you to score victory points accordingly. Royal Sword, Legendary Grail, and some different aspects to those Imperial Treasure card effects. That moves the player into Phase 3. Phase 3 is the beginning of the Imperial Decree phase. there will be 2 players with the most Emperor's Trust that need to make a decision. The Emperor's Trust is determined as you move up the Emperor Trust board, and at the end of that time, and you can see that is going to be as we move this a little closer for you to see the Emperor's Trust at the bottom there. As you move up that Emperor's Trust board and each player moves their appropriate icon accordingly, there will be 2 players who have the most points along that favor tile. Those 2 players need to make a decision. The Emperor's Trust is gained when you do things like dropping out of the turn order or bidding in the phase 1 is one of the rewards for going up in the palace hierarchy. The decision of these 2 players will be choosing one of the Imperial Decree actions and then flipping that card over once completed. Most of the tiles provide scoring for the player but can also take away resources. You may end up losing books or soldier in battle, or you may preserve books to allow other players to score victory points in the books that they have present. So there's different ways that some of those will score. So for example, this one here will allow you, this one is called Book Preservation. It will score you points for books, or on the opposite side, it's Book Burning, and it'll destroy books. So depending on how you choose to follow through, victory points will be determined for each of the players, and you may end up taking away resources as well. At the end of that phase, the 2 players who scored decree actions will fall back on the trust scale for the next round. The amount of trust they lose increases each round as scoring opportunities correspondingly increase. So whoever's highest on the level there will actually fall back and lose points as well. After each round, there's a setup phase where you'll redraw the tiles from the bag to replace the Qin Dynasty tiles, reset turn order, all action tiles and Imperial Decree tiles are flipped back up, and all character cards in the recruitment area are discarded and you draw new cards. Advance the round marker and start into the new round. So as you continue on with this, you're going to be scoring victory points, working your way up in construction of the palace, and trying to gain favor for the Emperor each round. At the end of the 6th phase, final scoring and game end occurs. Scoring involves scoring all of your policy cards that you have present, scoring victory points equal to half of your current trust points, scoring victory points based on your palace level, how far you've made it into the palace, 1 victory point per gold, and your game end effects on character cards. Some of your individual character cards have game end effects or game end or effects as you gain them. So here, for example, we have a member of the court that when acquired, you'll gain 1 gold coin from him. So all in all, that is how you play the game Emperor's Choice. This offers another great title from Hisashi Hayashi that will definitely delight his fans and bring new ones to the fold as well. If you enjoyed Yokohama Deluxified and all the game and choices that provided, this game may stroke your interest as well. There's a lot of choices and a lot of moving parts in this game. There are a number of ways to score points and various tracks that players can take to get to those points. I like the various ways that scoring does happen in this game, and it allows you to explore some different ways to get to the top. There isn't a one-way track that everybody's clawing around to get. If you want to try and go victory points, palace construction, trying to mass it through some of your imperial treasures or your workers, your Qin Dynasty tiles, there are a lot of different ways to get to where you need to go. The differences here, maybe a little bit more from a game like Yokohama, is it involves a more punishing game that requires you to build up and tear down mid-game and find ways to make it back to the top each round. There are not a lot of games that provide that you're doing well and now we're going to punish you in mid-game as you're trying to evolve and manipulate that track. Personally, I'm really excited to see this one come to Kickstarter, and I expect the continued amazing components and deluxified treatments that we get from Tasty Minstrel Games in all of their titles. So hopefully this gave you a great idea of what's going on in Emperor's Choice. And again, this is Isaac over at Gaming with Sidekicks. Please get over and check out our site at www.gamingwithsidekicks.com for more content and information, and follow us along our social media channels as well. So good luck, Tasty Minstrel Games, on this Kickstarter, and we will see you folks next time.